Well, here we are, halfway through Lent. This is what they call Laetare Sunday, and it's not to rejoice that we're halfway through Lent, but we rejoice because in these readings we get all these helps to learn how to live our lives with a little more joy and a little more peace. And I want to spend just a little bit of time on that very last phrase from the Gospel, where it says, those who do what is true come to the light, that they may see clearly that their deeds are full. Now, you know, light has always been a symbol of the divine presence, and both in the Old and the New Testament. And I found this story during the week from PBS, which is kind of for me, a really good example of how that light shines through our lives. Tony was 14 years old, and he was tied into a gang in San Diego, and they were robbing a store, and Tony shot a young Muslim college student and killed him. And, of course, went to prison for a long sentence. And the father of this young man who was shot is a Muslim also, and according to his belief, he had to forgive the person who shot his son. But it took him 5 years before he could go to the prison. And when he met Tony, he was so impressed. Now, over a 5-year period, Tony had been in the quiet of the prison and started to make a complete change, so that the father and Tony started to build a positive relationship. Now, the daughter, Tezreen, couldn't go to the prison. And so it took her another 5 years. And her brother showed up in a very vivid dream and told her that she must forgive and she must go to see Tony in the prison. So she did. And the person she met was so wonderful. They spent 7 hours together, and they bonded. So that whenever the father went to the prison, Tezreen was always there with him. Now, they continued to visit Tony in the prison until he was released many years later. And Tony got to know the entire family, including the grandchildren, and they all bonded and made a powerful spiritual family. Now, you know, this is an exceptional story, but it's not exceptional with the people who understand the scriptures. You know, Tezreen said, the light did not just automatically turn on. She said there were like layers that had to be removed before she could get to the point where she touched that light and was able to say, I forgive you and I love you. Now, if you recall, at the beginning of Lent, Pope Francis listed positive things that we could do during Lent. And the following Sunday, we talked about the Ten Commandments. Now, you know, those are just directives. They're a law, but you don't follow them just because you have to obey. You follow those because if you live that way, you become the light, and your life becomes full of joy and happiness. That's what the scriptures are all about. So, you know, my dear friends, I think it's good for us, as we're halfway through Lent, and rejoicing that we're getting all of the spiritual help to become better, that we look ahead and see how we can extend our love, especially to people that it may be difficult to give our love to. And so I'm going to suggest that as you go through this week, concentrate on the fact that that light is within you. And see how many people you can enlighten during the coming week. Remember, you are all powerful spiritual beings, so there's no limit to what you can do. You just have to peel away those layers, get to the light, and let your light shine. So maybe during the week, you can sing this little song. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.